Hello, welcome to Program with Sam, and this is C Lesson 2. Okay, so last time we did Hello World, and that's a classic start in programming, and in the introduction that I had when I started doing C, that was my introduction, was doing Hello World. It's a classic, and it's one that you realistically should do. So I'm glad that we've got that out of the way. So what we're going to look at now is sort of the four main variable types, the four main data types available to us in C. So those are char. So if we go here, we can have a char, a, which is equal to a. We can also have integers or ints. Int b is equal to 3. We can also have floats, which are equal to floating point numbers. So like that. And we can also have doubles, which are, again, precision point numbers. So if we can just do 4.8. And those are the four sort of available to us in C. And we can sort of see them in action if we do printf. And we'll say this is the integer. And we'll do %d and then b. And I believe then if we run that, that should just output the actual number. Yeah, this is the integer. So I think we can do the same thing again. So then this should just output all of the variables that we've declared with their value. So yeah, those are the four data types available to us to see, and that's how we can access them to print them out to the console. We've seen these before in the Java series, so if you're unfamiliar with that, or what the variables are, just feel free to go back, have a look at the Java series on the blog, or just watch the video where we discuss it. We go through all like the values that they can take and how many bits are representing each variable, each data type. And as you can see, the syntax is very similar to other languages we've looked at, so it's very similar to Java. So, I mean, if you are following along there, you'll have no problem taking on C. But one thing you might be sort of thinking at this point is, well, in Java you had quite a lot, and then obviously with the object orientation as well, you had even more to work with. 4 data types doesn't seem like a lot. But one of the things we can do is use arrays, and arrays then allow us to actually do more. So if we declare a char array, if we declare char my array is 250, like that, we now have an array of 250 characters, and it's called my array. Now, what we could do then is we could set, say, I don't know, is equal to can you see where I'm going with this? And we can declare a string using just an array of characters. And that, at the end of the day, that's essentially what a string is. It's just a list of characters that are, concatenated together, and we treat it as a string object, but fundamentally that's all they are. It's just an array of characters, a sequence of characters. Now, C++ actually also supports multi-dimensional arrays. So let's say we have int matrix, and it's a 3x3 matrix. We can have 3 and 3. And that will then give us the space for a 3-dimensional matrix, which would look... So now that we've sort of got some code here that you can actually read through and examine, it helps then to have comments. So like before, we're going to just go over the quick 2 different types of comments in C. One of them is the single line comment, and the other is the multi-line comment. You probably recognize them because they're identical in Java. If you can remember, we had a single line was a double slash and multi-line was the star. It's exactly the same in C++. The only one you're missing then is the Java doc, which is, understandable because it's Javadoc, not CDoc. I believe there is a thing called, I think it's like Oxygen or Doxygen or something like that, that does Javadoc comments style thing for C and C++. but we're not going to be examining that. We're just looking at C today. So what you can do then is you can just go ahead and comment up the code, and you can make notes so that you understand what is happening in your code, and so that when someone comes to read your code as well, they understand what is going on. And that's the key difference. So you'll see me comment near enough every single line in the tutorial stuff. That's just so that you can clearly understand exactly what is going on. In reality, there's no need to comment that much, but for the sake of those who are completely new to programming, I comment every single line. So the last bit that we want to touch on today is just sort of C and C++'s similarities. Obviously, you'll see, as we discussed last time, that the files we're writing to are CPPs, which are technically C++ files. But all of the code that we've written is syntactically correct C code. Like, you could plug it into a C compiler and it will compile. So why is that? So C and C++ are obviously very similar languages, but C++ supports object-oriented programming, obviously through their classes, their objects, that kind of whole malarkey. And in fact, it helps to think of C++ as a superset of C, because C++ is built on top of C. So C++ has access to the majority of the stuff you can do in C, but C doesn't have access to any of the stuff you can do in C++. There are sort of plenty of websites and articles and stuff that go into great detail about sort of like the specific nuances and the differences between the two languages. But the key point to remember is that C++ tends to have a greater emphasis on your type checking. But for now, we're just going to make this assumption that C++ is building on C, and that's all we're going to worry about it. And that's going to wrap it up for this time. Next time, we're going to be looking at declaring functions and writing function bodies. We'll also be touching on recursion and showing you how to write recursive functions. If you'd like to follow me at ProgramSamBlog, or follow the blog directly at programwithsam.code.blog, that would be much appreciated. And I'll see you in the next one.